All right, ladies and gentlemen, we should be good to go. We should be good to go. So I've got Ecamm. I've got the latest beta of Ecamm because there is a very critical feature for essentially auto recording. Let me turn off the actual stream. There's a feature for essentially live recording to a mobile version, which means that I can share stuff on mobile, and that's going to be fantastic. But it's beta. And I didn't realize when I installed the beta that I left the install files in the downloads folder or something. So when I cleared my downloads folder and then I tried to open Ecamm, it was like, yeah, we can't open that because it's in the trash. And then I couldn't restore it, and I just had to like reinstall it. I don't know, but we are here. We are here. That's all that matters. We're about to get going on some live builds. But let's say hi to everybody before we get started. Let me go ahead and pull up the live feed here. Okay. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Add comments to both sides. Oh yeah, I guess so. Okay. So how's everybody doing today? How is everybody doing? Are we feeling good? Are we feeling good? That was the most boring Super Bowl of all time. I don't know who watched it, but absolutely atrociously boring. Okay. So what we're going to do today, we're going to build two things. I'm going to show you guys what we are going to build. Let me close some things out here. Let me go to downloads, WDD. Okay, I've got some new screen share options to choose from here. I was working over the weekend again, just kind of buttoning up some of these scenes, as they call them in Ecamm, trying to make these things a little flashier. So I have let's go to the reaction screen. What's that look like? Okay, that doesn't have the, that does not have the vertical though, but that's okay, whatever. So we're going to do this right here. We're going to do this pricing section because I feel like, it's very common that you'll see a lot of pricing tables, but it's also very common where the company has one plan, one product, one plan, whatever. And it's just kind of here's all the things that are included and go ahead and sign up. It's not like a bunch of comparison plans or things like that. So we're going to build one of those. And then I thought this was very interesting as well as a CTA section, but could also actually be like a squeeze page, but also was raising questions of like, should this actually just be one component that could operate as a section or a squeeze page independently, or should it be just a pattern? Like, we're going to have to maybe explore that a little bit. I'm going to start, but plus these layout things I always find to be, there's a lot of ways that you can approach them. And everybody gets kind of like, they're not sure which way to do it. So we're just going to explore a potential way using grid areas probably, and just see how that goes, see how it works out. Anytime you have what appears to just be objects floating randomly, they don't really seem to have any containment. They actually do, but they, design-wise, they seem fairly free and floaty. People get a little like, ooh, how do you go about positioning those things? Because there are some things to consider. For example, like this content, oh, why is that a circle? I don't even know. How do I, how do I change my shape? Okay, rectangle. Okay, so like you have to protect the content. Like these things should never collide with the content. You know what I'm saying? Like they have to stay away. So as this responsiveness happens, you have to prevent collisions between, because if these are just absolutely randomly positioned, they're not informed by the existence of this main content, and they could at certain screen sizes, right? Just start floating over the top of the stuff that's actually important. And you don't want that to happen. So there's got to be some form of structure there. And that's where people often get confused. They're like, well, how do we manage this across all these different device sizes? So we're going to take a look at how that might come together. Will you show how to enable, disable features per pricing plan? Well, in this case, there's not any plans. There's just, how do I turn this thing off? Okay, there's just one option, okay? And then we have features that would get added to that option. And I will show you, we'll talk about a couple different ways to perhaps handle this. To try to make it easy as well. Like, you don't want these things to be really difficult to maintain or really difficult to use. So, got to talk about it. That's some discussions. Okay, is everybody ready to go? Can we get some LFGs in the chat? We can start building. We're going to be on the latest unreleased version of Etch, unreleased version of ACSS. I'll show you the stack that we're working with here. Let me get to a normal screen share situation, maybe my main sharing situation. Okay, so this is so weird seeing a vertical edition of this over here at the same exact time. This is gonna be fun. It's gonna be interesting. All right, where's the stack? Where's the stack? Let's go back to our plugin stack here. I need to get my, what happens when I move my, I guess that should be fine. I can move the chat over here. Let's go to plugins, and you can see automatic CSS version beta 2 plus a lot of numbers, and 1.01 plus a lot of numbers. That's always when I grab a random branch. So it's got maybe a goodie or two in here that you don't quite have yet, but that's okay. All right, we are starting on a sample page right here. The Bills would have beat the Seahawks. I'll tell you this, I would have rather seen the Bills versus the Seahawks for sure. Definitely would have rather seen that. I mean, New England was not ready. Okay, New England was not ready. I mean, Seahawks defense, absolutely lockdown defense. You know, as a Georgia Bulldog, I'm used to seeing lockdown defense. I know what that looks like. You know, let's just call it like it is. And so, props to them. You know. But man, New England looked bad. I mean, New England looked real bad. They look shook, as we would say. So I would have rather seen the Bills. Okay, what are we building? Let's build this pricing section first. Actually, I'm gonna get the live version. I have it right here. So we will go ahead and pin this up here. So here's our live version. We're gonna scroll down and find it. Where did it go? There it is. There it is. Okay. So essentially, if we talk this through, this is going to be our intro. This is going to be our main container, you know, but it's this whole card right here is going to be a component. And then we have a row down here of testimonials, which I think I have a testimonial card component already on the pattern site. And we probably maybe need to just build a little bit of extra logic into it to make it be able to do this. You know, when you're building a pattern library these days, you really are wanting to think in terms of, does this look like, can I zoom in? Well, let me zoom in. Like, this looks like if you had a testimonial card component, any basic testimonial card component should be able to handle this situation right here. So we shouldn't build a new one. We shouldn't build another one. We should just make sure the one we have can handle doing this, where it's like, just show me the stars, just show me the quote, don't show me anything else. So we're gonna look and see if we have a testimonial component, and if it can't already do this, we'll just make it able to do this instead of building a whole new testimonial card component, because that doesn't make any sense, you know? We want like as much modularity and flexibility in the components that are in our library rather than duplicating components. And well, this component, well, this version does this. No. Let's just make the same one. This is a basic thing. This is not crazy. Okay, this is basic. All right, let's get started. So we are going to go with a section. Now, I am going to be playing with the Command I inserter, okay? Because not for everything, you know, it depends on, do you have your hand on the mouse already? Do you have your hands on the keyboard already? You know, it's not like one or the other is wildly superior. I think, you know, the ability to go click, 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 click rapid fire add some things, that's very valuable in a lot of cases. But Command I, when you already have your hands on the keyboard, or if you need something that doesn't exist down here, you need a span, you need a real button, you need anything, a list, okay? Like Command I can really, really, really speed up the workflow. And we're gonna hopefully see some of that as we go. All right, so if you just duplicate this container 3 times, you're gonna have essentially the basic layout structure of what we're trying to achieve, where this first one would be an intro. The second one would be the container for the pricing card component. And then this would be the list of testimonial items, okay? So we can just call this testimonial list, and we can call this the pricing card wrapper, okay? And we can call this the intro, but I'm just gonna delete that. Do I have a section intro yet? This is a brand new install. I don't have anything, so I'm gonna go to patterns. I'm gonna grab my introduction here. We're gonna go to layouts. I can just actually search for intro. No, that's WordPress search for you. Absolutely fantastic. Yeah, let's put that at the bottom. That's good. Let's put the most relevant one at the bottom. All right, let's go paste. Gotta get permissions. Yeah, just how about forever, okay? Section intro. All right, we've got our section intro. And this section intro allows you to come in and determine whether you're showing the lead or not showing the lead, showing the CTAs or not showing the CTAs. And that's what I'm talking about. That's the kind of flexibility that we want to make sure is in our testimonial component so that we can achieve those testimonial layouts. Okay, why don't we, while we're copying and pasting stuff, why don't we go to testimonials and see what's available to us so we could just bring that in real quick. So we have a star rating, but we have a big testimonial. We don't actually have a legit basic testimonial card. We don't have one. I don't think. Doesn't look like we have one. So I guess we'll build one of those. And then we'll pop that into patterns as well. Okay, so let's do the testimonial card real quick. We're gonna go, and here's another one. Like, there's no block quote thing down here, right? There's no block quote thing down here. So what I'm gonna do is go block quote. Now we have one with attribution, I should say. Okay, this creates the figure, gives you the block. This is probably how most block quotes should be structured for the most part if you're doing a component like this and you want maximum flexibility. But we're gonna have the block quote that can have the paragraphs inside of it. We have the fig caption with the name and the citation down here. And then of course we are auto styling it with automatic CSS because it's a naked block quote. But we're gonna test this out. I was trying to make sure that this works seamlessly. When you put a class on it, and I think it's maybe any class or maybe just a class with card, it stops auto styling it because it's like, oh, you're doing a card situation. You probably want to just handle this on your own. So it only does this when it's a naked block quote. Okay, so we would want to take this figure and say testimonial card. And we're going to say that's the block quote, paragraph. Okay, that's fine. You got the caption, you got the name, you got the citation. I think all that's fine. We can just create BEM classes. Okay, so nothing happened when I did card. Let's go check our rule in ACSS and see what we've got going on. So we're gonna go to block quotes. And this was annoying me to no end the other day, trying to figure out how best to do these rules and how to get them to port over to the SAS as cleanly as possible. Is class card, block quote, figure, class card. I'm gonna do a very simple rule first because this is an exclusion selector. Testimonial card. Let's just see if we can get this to go away. There we go. Okay, that's kind of the gist of it. But I'm trying to get that to do that programmatically. Figure class. I bet it's just probably an extension of this rule right here. Like if I did figure class card block quote, because I think I don't actually know. I'd have to go look at how all of that is done. Well, that's kind of promising. I didn't come back when I replaced the rule. Okay, well, let's see okay, that might be exactly what we needed to do. Okay, I'll double check on that later. All right, testimonial card block quote. All we need is stars. Now I think we have a review rating, star rating alpha. Okay, let's copy this. Let's bring this in. So let's look at our structure. I've got my block quote, I got my caption. I would essentially want to paste that above the block quote. And that's gonna get you your star rating, which, okay, so this one's gonna need layout inline stacked. We need like a show badge situation there. That's gonna be easy to add. So let's do a Boolean and let's go show badge. We'll leave that as the default. And I'm gonna wrap this label in a condition. And we're gonna say props.showBadge. And that's all we have to do there. So now we have the ability to show badge or not show badge. And then we'll come in and you could just do something like that. So that should be pretty easy to manage there. This is gonna be a nested component situation, which should be okay. Okay, testimonial card. And let's go ahead and look at what they, well, let's just do this. Flex column, let's see what our gaps do here. Content gap, okay. Paragraph, block quote. Let's see if our font size, yeah, we can inherit this. Okay, so let's go text L. I don't know, I mean, they kept it at M. So they're not, it's basically just the ability to hide the caption should be able to get this done. Let's do a content gap here, but maybe just like one character. That's probably good. Okay. I think when we make this a component, I mean, you could go granular, like, do you want to show the name? Do you want to show the citation? Do you want to show the whole caption? I mean, you could go that level. Maybe we'll eventually get to that level, but I just want to move quick. So I don't want to do all of that. I'm just going to go like show or hide the caption situation. So let's go right click. Let's create a component here. And that's going to be called testimonial card alpha. Okay. And then we will immediately come down here. I'm just going to have a prop. Well, let's think about it. We may want a slot for the actual block quote. Because what if you have a multi-paragraph quote? That's going to be a decision. Okay. So let's go with, we know that we want the Boolean. We know we want the Boolean, at least for now. Okay, I'm gonna add the flexibility in here. We're gonna say not style. You can do something like behavior or show. How about show? Okay, so show could be caption, author only, and citation. You could have caption, author only. What would all of our options be? Name. Okay, I'll do name. I'll keep the names consistent here. Author and citation. That was it. That's it, right? Show. I don't know. As somebody who's dyslexic, this is intensely anxiety producing. Name only, author and citation. Yeah, name and citation. None. That's more clear, right? Name only, name and citation would be the, am I missing any options? I mean, there's 3 elements, there's 3 options. It seems like that should cover all the bases. Is that correct? Name and citation, name only, none. You would never have a citation without a name. I don't think. Would you? Would you have a block quote that has a citation without a name? Would that ever happen? I don't know if that would ever happen. Okay. Right now, I'm only going to program the none, though. That's all I'm going to program for right now. So we're going to take this entire caption. We're going to wrap in a condition. We're going to say props.show does not equal, and then we're going to do none. Okay. And I should do something like this, probably. Name citation. Okay. Okay. Perhaps does not equal none. That feels like it should get the job done. Okay. It does. Show none. Okay. Show name only and name and citation. Okay, that needs to be fixed real quick. That's just a space, syntax error. Good. Exit. All right, so we can build in easily the other two logics, but I just want that one for right now because I'm just trying to get to the usable card that we see on the screen, which I think we're essentially at right now. So we have the quote, we have the stars, and let's see if we can take the stars and expose the props to the parent, which would essentially mean that when we are using the card now, we also can set the rating. Look at that, 2, 3, out of the box. It's working, okay? I don't know why it's getting the badge back. Oh, I didn't, okay, yeah. The toggle resets when you expose to parent. Okay, so that all looks great. Okay, so we have immediate functionality there. That can accept, by the way, dynamic data from, if we have reviews in the database, for example, and we have the rating back there, we can pass it in here. It'll dynamically control the stars. This is all stuff we didn't really have to do. We just kind of copied and pasted this in from the existing patterns library, from our existing components. Okay, let's leave this for right now, and we're gonna wrap this in a div. This is going to convert to a list, and we'll say item. All right, and then we're just gonna duplicate the item 3 times and then call this testimonial list. Perfect, and then we can display grid and do grid of auto 3. And then we have a little testimonial list. Now we have to handle the testimonial text, which is, I don't know. I think a slot is a little overkill. I think what we should probably do is just go text and say testimonial text. Testimonial. We'll just say, we'll call it quote. How about that? We'll call it quote. And I'll just pass that. We'll save. We will exit. Okay. And now suddenly we have the ability to write our own quote in each one. Okay, we can even limit the amount of characters in those. That's all good. All right, I like that for now. Let's work on the card. Yes, citation is the source, not necessarily a name associated with it. Okay, so you could have a, okay, bottom right. Yeah. I don't know if I can, this is the beta version of Ecamm, and I don't know where the editor went, to be honest with you. I don't know if I can move that. But what I can do is I can put my component properties on this side. How about that? So for those of you who were not able to see a minute ago, I have this show logic where I have name and citation, name only. I can add citation only to that. And then we have our quote, and then we have our star rating. And we can control the layout, which doesn't matter if you're not showing the badge. We have the font size control. Like you can make the stars really big if you wanted to. Yeah, so that's that. The exposed props function so useful. Well, I agree. Okay, your new stream layout tool takes real estate, makes the viewport smaller, and prevents me from zooming in. I don't know if that's the case. Let me see. Where's our preview window? Is it not going to the edge? Let me go to Windows up here. Camera, preview. Where's a preview? Preview, anywhere. Preview. I don't know where the preview is. So, let me know if it's not going to the edge. Because it's supposed to. It's supposed to go to the edge. You guys don't, to be clear, you guys don't see the vertical, do you? If you guys see the vertical, I thought the vertical view was only for me. See, now I gotta wait on this stupid delay. You guys should not, it's fine. Okay, good. Just answer the question. Can you see the vertical or not see the vertical? You shouldn't see the vertical. The right column for chat is much wider. I don't know what that means. There's no chat on the screen right now. Vertical chat. There's no chat on the screen right now. Do you guys see a chat? You shouldn't be seeing a chat. Yeah. Andrew doesn't see a chat. So we got Paul saying it's full screen. We got Andrew saying I don't see a chat. Are y'all commenting from like 10 minutes ago? Some of y'all are in the, I don't know that you're caught up with the live stream. Cannot see vertical. Yeah. Okay, good. All right, fantastic. I think we're fine, right? Are we edge to edge with the screen? We're edge to edge, right? We should be edge to edge. Yo, some of y'all throwing me off. We got fake news in the chat. Okay, let's get our pricing card. Okay, good. Everybody's on the same page for the most part. Okay, let's do this card. We got to build it statically. This is going to be interesting because you have to inject the list, okay? So on mobile, this list has to go between here, but they're in separate containers. So I think there's a way to handle. I think display contents is probably going to be what we need there, but we're not going to know until we get there. There might need to be doing some dissecting here. So let's start with just put in our pricing card. I'm going to go to patterns real quick and say pricing. Let's go back to categories here. Let's type in pricing. Let's see what we get. We have pricing section alpha, and I'm guessing those are pricing card alpha as well. Pricing card alpha. So this will be pricing card Bravo. We'll go pricing card Bravo. And then let's just get our structure on the page. So let me get my drawing tool back here. I mean, sheer basics. We're looking at a content wrapper for this and a content wrapper for this. 2 sections. Then you're going to have a div for this to contain those 2 items. You're going to have a div for this to contain these 2 items. Maybe something in here, but probably we'll just do that with the actual paragraph. Probably going to be some spans in there. Then you'll have the button. And then, of course, this is, you have your, I don't know if the list itself would work. Maybe the list itself would work. Then you have these. This is going to be a span. We already have an icon list that we could actually steal, but it's a nested component. It's a slot component situation. And it might be a little overkill for this particular card. And this card might need a little added flexibility. So we might just build this icon list ourselves for this card. Okay, let's go ahead and get that off the screen. And we're not going to do that from memory, by the way. We're just going to have to bounce back and forth. But I know we need the first 2 divs. This is going to be the content wrapper, and I'm going to make this the list. We're going to try to get away without a list wrapper. Maybe we don't need a list wrapper. We'll just call this the list, and then we'll put a list item in there. And actually, you know what? I see, this is where you got to practice. You got to train yourself. No, we shouldn't be doing that, okay? So on pricing card Bravo, I can just ask for an unordered list, and I can just get one. Why am I playing with boxes when I can just ask for a list and get one, you know? That's like, see, we didn't have that before. When you don't have it, and now you have it, you got to train your brain. Hey, that's a new option now. That's there. You could just ask for a list. You don't need to play with boxes so much. Okay, so we got our list. We got our list item. Fantastic. So this list item, we're probably going to want to put in a span. So did you guys see that? Do you see how lightning fast that was? Let's get rid of that. And we'll say item text. So I just went Command I, type span, hit enter. I type span like that, hit enter. And before your very eyes, it just throws the span in there like immediately. I'm telling you, it's nice. It's nice. You start practicing with it a little bit, nice things happen. I'm wondering if we want to do the whole X situation. It's always a question of how fancy do you want this thing to be? Let's just get it working super basic first. So we've got some items there. We've got our list. This span should be called a label. We'll call it the item list item label. List item label. list item label, list item label. I normally just do this once and then duplicate, but they're already there, so whatever. It is what it is. List. It annoys me that these don't say list item. Maybe I should fix that. Okay. List item, list item, list item, list. That feels much better. All right, so inside of our content wrapper, what are we gonna be doing? We need this little thing. First, we need our heading. Then we need this little, what even is this? What even is this? It's just some, I don't even know. Some like, we'll call it like an eyebrow heading. Just call it an eyebrow. I never liked that word, but people use it all the time. I don't know. It's growing on me, maybe. No pun intended. Let's go heading first and then eyebrow. All right, this is gonna be called eyebrow. This is gonna be called, what would that be? A plan name? Plan name, okay. Pricing plan, just call it a heading. Make it easy. Content wrapper. Okay, those need to be grouped as I mentioned. So I'm gonna wrap that in a div and throw that in there. We're gonna call this the header. Okay, so we got a header. How about a pricing wrapper? So let's just throw a div in there, and then this is gonna be called pricing wrapper. And I'm thinking this should just be 2 paragraphs. Paragraph 1, paragraph 2, with some spans in there. And what we need spans for will be determined in just a minute. So I can just do paragraph and paragraph, and you can just get them both. So this is gonna be the price, and then this is gonna be the price description. Because what they've done here is just given it a little bit of a description of, I don't know. How else can I fucking describe it? It's a description, guys. You know what a description is. Okay, so this is gonna be a description. This is gonna be, $1 per month or whatever. And this is where we're gonna need spans in here, because all this styling, this being different than this, these are the same paragraph. It's $1 a day. If you were gonna write that sentence, it is $1 a day. That's one sentence, but it's broken up in terms of styling. And so you do that with spans inside of the one sentence. So you get a little paragraph for the one sentence and you use spans inside, and then this is a separate paragraph right here. Or you could argue, would you argue with me? I'll let you guys decide. Let's vote. Do we go paragraph 1, paragraph 2, or is this all the same paragraph and then we break it up with spans? You might be able to argue, Kevin, the sentence would be, the pricing is $1 a day charged annually at $365. Is that 1 paragraph or 2 paragraphs? You guys decide, okay? 1 or 2. Pre-heading sounds better than eyebrow, but it's 2 words. I'm gonna be on the 1 word team here. If we can keep it to 1 word, I like keep it to 1 word. That's a good little rule of thumb. Okay. So $1 a day charge. You got 2 paragraphs. Nick says 2 paragraphs. We'll go with Nick. Okay. Pricing, description. And then we've got our list, and then we need our button. Do we need a button wrapper is the question. I would think we need a button wrapper for flexibility. We're gonna go div, we're gonna go link, okay? Bang. Now, the only thing we're missing is the ability to choose whether it's a child or a sibling. That's coming, trust me, that's coming. We've already discussed it. This is gonna be the button wrapper, and this is gonna be the button, okay? Because now with the button wrapper, I'm able to put maybe text below the button as well. That's very important in some cases. If we don't have that wrapper, we're architecturally deficient in that way. But the wrapper gives us more flexibility for what we wanna do. Okay, I'm liking this. I'm liking our structure here. I think we're ready to BIM pricing card Bravo. Anything that might be missing, we can go ahead and add later. I'm gonna go create BIM classes for pricing card Bravo. Okay, heading. All right, let's say main plan. Okay, or now let's say platinum. Platinum plan, okay? This is the eyebrow. So immediately what I'm gonna do is come down here and just order this -1. Once our header is display flex, that should work. Okay, And so that's going to bring that to the top. So what did they say? It helps my brain to just have real content in here. I guess we'll just do everything that they did. Okay, function membership. All right, $1. What was their pricing? Their pricing was $1 a day, charged annually. $1 per day, charged annually. At $365. Okay, looks good. Looks good. This was join function. Okay, which I don't like that CTA text all that much. It's a little confusing, you know? It's a little confusing. Primary, make it look like a button. Fantastic. Okay, so now we have our pricing card Bravo, which we're gonna decide how to do this with grid. Now, again, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get this working on like a mobile view first. So if I came down here, you know, how does this kind of need to look? And then we'll just make it into 2 columns on whatever device size we decide, and probably a container query to do that. But let's see, we need padding first, I'm guessing. We do, kind of a lot of it. So I'm gonna go space, maybe L for that. And then we're definitely gonna need some gaps. Now this is gonna be display grid like normal. And if I just put gaps in, I get this, okay? And so now we come into the content wrapper, and we're gonna need to flex column that and throw a gap in. And then we're gonna need to go into our list and we're going to flex that and put a gap in, most likely, okay? We're starting to get our stuff. I was gonna cuss there, but I edit it for you guys. We're gonna get our stuff sorted here, spaced out and sorted out. Okay, the question now is that we're really gonna need to handle is how do you inject this list into here? And my first guess, and if this guess is wrong, we're gonna have to rethink this whole thing. It may have to go with like some sort of grid area, but I'm thinking if we display contents here, we're gonna be able to do this. And a lot of you don't know what just happened, and that's okay. And I'm not gonna tell you what happened until I see it working. Once I see it working, I'll tell you what happened. But until then, there's no need to know. Okay, it's working. This is fantastic. So essentially what display contents does, you saw I had two groups of content, and I need to put one group into another group. And the way I did that was to take the first group, content wrapper, which notice when I click on that, like if I click the header, you see it's outlining the header. I click on content wrapper, it's not highlighting anything. And that's because display contents, watch what happens when I put it back to flex, it's back again. Display contents essentially deletes the containment context of that wrapper. It makes it layout like architecturally like that wrapper does not even exist anymore, which means that I can now order things as if they were all in one group instead of being in 2 separate groups. And so I took a list. Look what happens when I display flex. You got to really pay attention. Watch this list. When I go display flex, it is going to exist outside of this group right here. But if I display contents on this group, it's as if, you got to spell it right. If I display contents, it's as if this wrapper no longer exists, and this group, this group, this group, and this group are all in the same wrapper together. They're all friends now. And then they can be ordered independently as if they weren't contained differently, which is so nice because that's really nice. That's just really, it's really great. It's just really great. And I'm gonna make that the default so that when we make this 2 columns, it should be fairly easy to approach from that. But I already solved the main architectural challenge of this card, which now leads me to believe that like, we're just good to go. We just style it like normal now. So I'm gonna put a border on here. I'm gonna put a border radius on here. I'm gonna put a background color, BG, ultra light. That's kind of my default there. This is an unstyled card. We're not matching colors or fonts or anything else. This is an supposedly minimally styled. It's like, just give them a starting point to style from. We're not doing a bunch of opinionated stuff, right? And I'm not going to go through and make all of this framework agnostic in this video. That's just boring work because we try to make all the patterns framework agnostic. So I build it with ACSS, then I go back and I make it agnostic. But yeah, it is what it is. Okay. So function membership, $1 a day. We need to come in here and decide what's going to happen here. And so this is where this gets annoying. It's actually very easy to do. It's easiest to do in Etch than any other interface because I have access to all the stuff right here. But I'm going to Command X that $sign and essentially create a span and put it back inside the span. And that's going to be the currency. And then I'm going to take the 1 and I'm going to delete that and I'm going to put a span and I'm going to put it back. And that's going to be the price. And then I am going to take that slash out. We can add that separately as probably a pseudo element. I'm going to Command X day, add a span and put day in. And that's going to be what I would call the term. Because remember, that could be month, it could be year, it could be day, it could be a lot of different things. And so this is how we do it. We put each thing in a span and now it's independently controllable. HTML parse error at line 1, no block could be created. Well, I've got too many brackets. You don't want too many brackets in your life. But now in the structure panel, I've got all these spans, right? And so I can say currency. And I'm gonna, because it's BEM and people get confused by this, like how do you name the stuff? So you have pricing wrapper, price. This isn't just currency. It could be, but that's still not as clear as it could be. Price currency. You use the tip that I've said before, which is repeat the name. So the name is price. These things exist within price. So these should all be based on price, okay? Price amount, and then this is price term. So we have price, price currency, price amount, price term. And then you see the class right here. If I were to put this on here, what is it? Pricing card Bravo, double underscore, price currency, okay? This clearly lives inside of price if you study your BEM and you are used to looking at it correctly. Price amount and then price term. Perfect. Okay. Now we have the ability to come in for the amount, for example, and go font size of like H2. And now suddenly that is a much bigger thing. Or we can go H1 if we want to. We have the day, we have the price currency, okay, which we could go, I typically like font size 50% on this, okay, and then the actual price we can display as a row, so we go like flex row on that, take our currency. Well, first we would decide, do we want everything to the center? Yeah. Okay. And so what would this be? Align self. Can you align self? Justify self. The axes situation in flex. And I actually don't know. Oh, you know what? It's stretching. I bet it's stretching. It probably needs to be aligned specifically to the center. Is that still stretching? Align items to the center. Justify. Yeah, we don't want to justify. Align items to the center. Maybe align items to the... Okay, that's going to be a whole different situation. All right, we'll handle that in a minute. $1 a day. Maybe I don't want to flex row this. I don't know. We'll check that out in a minute. Okay, so charge annually at $365. Price is its own thing. This needs to go get a gap. And we're going to do like 1 LH. Half an LH. Half a line height. What does it look like on theirs? It's pretty close. They did their currency. See, when you want to give people max flexibility, this kind of stuff is annoying because it's like, I just want to decide for them, but you really need the control of, should this be the same font size, you know? If it was the way they did it is the currency symbol and the price are the exact same font size. But that's not going to be always what you want. Okay, so for the term, here's how I would handle this. We would go at before, get a little pseudo element going. Content is... a /, okay? And we are inside the quotes, buddy, inside the quotes, okay? And then you could actually probably, oh yeah, that would have to be inline flex probably. Flex direction row, and then a gap of 0.5 characters. Margin inline start, 0.5 characters. There we go. We're just kind of spacing all this stuff out. Okay. And I would actually go like maybe 0.25 characters on that. Get it a little bit close. There we go. Okay. All right. That's starting to get pretty good. What I want to do now is let's move the list over when it's at a certain breakpoint. So I'm going to say, you start by guessing, and I'm going to do this on container queries. So this is 1054. That seems like we could fit a list over there. It seems like maybe at 1001, we could still fit a list over there, I think. So this is kind of where we'll do it. So I'm going to add the has-me for our container queries, prepare ourselves for the container query. I'm going to inject our container query. And this is going to go to display grid template columns of grid 2. Okay. Boom. All right. And this is where we're going to have to get rid of that display contents. So remember that display contents right here? We're going to have to get rid of that at that container query size. This is going to have to go to display of flex. And now just with those little 2 adjustments, we essentially have our side-by-side component. And when it stacks, look at the list, inject itself above the button, or appears to inject itself above the button. That's really nice. Really, really, really nice. Kind of like, I just feel like that's it's the simplest way to approach it. Like, you build it to where it looks good on mobile. And what did it take? 2 rules? It took 2 rules to get it to where we needed to be on desktop. I don't know that it can be more efficient than that. Okay, so this is gonna be content gap divided by 2, because we don't want those to be so close together. All right, let's think about how we wanna handle this list item. I don't think I wanna deal with the, like an actual physical icon in there. So what I'm gonna do is probably, do we do this on the list item or do we do this on the span? I think we should probably do it on the list item. Let's do a before. And let's just get a box on the screen. We want a box to represent where our icon is going to be. So this is gonna be inline size of 1em, a block size of 1em, a background of red, just make it ugly. We want a display of flex, perfect. And then if we're on list item here and we display that as a row and we align the things to the center and we give ourselves a gap, but we change this again to like 0.5 characters, maybe 1 character gap. 1 character gap seems like it's gonna get the job done. We'll throw an aspect ratio on here just to be safe. And there's kind of our icon list. Let's go ahead and take a look. And that's starting to look really good. Okay. Did they do a 50-50 split? That seems 50-50. Now what needs to happen at that container query size is we need a divider between these 2 elements. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna take probably the list itself, okay? So let's go get the container query. Man, you guys understand like why I rant about tokenized container queries and tokenized media queries so much? You see now I'm deploying a container query in 3 different places, and this gives me tremendous anxiety. I really want to be able to tokenize container queries and media queries. I don't know why you can't do it in CSS, but you can't. But we're going to make it possible. Okay, so the list at 1001 and up is going to get a pseudo element. That content is going to be blank. The block size is going to be 100%. The inline size is going to be 1 pixel, or maybe 1.5 pixels. The background is going to be red because we're going to make it ugly first. And we are going to, okay, it's already there. Let's think about how we want to do this. Column, 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 column. Do we want to position this relative and position this absolute? Does it go all the way? No, it doesn't go all the way. This might work. This might work. Okay, let's go top of 0, left of -1m. Just for now, we're just going to use some dummy things. So this is not mathematically centered, but we can always mathematically center it later. We just want to get it on the screen. So there's our little divider line between the two. Now, yeah, so, okay, see what's happening here? You have some padding between the top and bottom of the list relative to that line. Now, personally for me, do I want to bother with padding inside of here? Or do I want to extend this taller than the 2 elements around it? I always feel like going taller than the 2 elements around it are better. So this block size would be 100% plus, like if you just added an M on either side, or maybe 2M on either side. Or you could you just do like 125% or something? You could do it like that too. We could kill the overflow just in case it ever collides with the top and bottom. If this is top 50%, but then we translate it back, minus 50%. Is that the right axis? Minus, oh, that's the wrong axis. Fucking dyslexia, dude. Minus 50%, okay. Shazam. This is relative to that. We're gonna need to know the gap value, aren't we? Card gap. Okay, does card gap, is the card framework on? I don't even know if I had the card framework on. It's not even on. It's not even on. Yeah, I guess card gap's not gonna do anything if you don't have the framework on. That would help. Okay, so save there. So now I know the card gap. So I turned on what I just did. I turned on the card framework because it uses tokenize everything for all the important stuff, essentially. Like in this situation, I need to know what the card gap is because I need to position this halfway away from the list, half of the card gap, essentially. To put it in the middle of the gap, it's got to be half the card gap away from itself. I feel like I'm doing a horrible job explaining this. Words are very hard in this situation, guys. Words are very difficult in this situation. So I went left minus 1m. I really want to go left of card gap times -1, but not -1 because that's going to put it, if you see, it's going to put it on the edge of the other thing, okay? And so what we really need is minus 0.5. And now, guys, it's mathematically dead center in the gap. That's just great. It's just great. It's just fantastic. Now, I'm gonna, instead of gap card gap is fine. Let's just redefine the card gap to something like space L, okay? And can we get it? Can we get it to auto var this? Thank you, thank you. And look, even though I changed the gap, it's still mathematically perfect. So it's nice, it's nice. We don't want that to be red though. We don't want this to be red. We don't want this to be red. So now what we're gonna do is come in and get rid of the red. So we are going to say, I'm gonna show you a little trick here. Let me see. Well, we could do a color mix. Yeah, there's a little color mix recipe in there. And we could go just dial this down like this. I'm gonna replace this with var neutral. And then that's it. Yeah, that's it. Or just var black, you know, I could have done that too. Okay, so that's nice, little transparency action. Now we're gonna take this list item and the background is going to be the icon color. Icon color. Well, Kevin, what is the icon color? I mean, I don't even know yet. Icon color of text, dark, muted, okay? And then we can also do icon size, which will just be 1m, but I'll do this, icon size, okay? That's fantastic. And now we need an icon, Okay, let's go to huge icons. Let's get a checkbox, a tick. We will take our, which one of these do we want? Which one's sexy? Which one is here? Let's do this. Let's just keep it. Well, what'd they do? Oh, they did a circle one. Okay, all right. I think we have a circle tick somewhere. Very annoying that they call these things a tick, but it is what it is. Okay, where is a norm? Here we go. That looks like a clock, but that's okay. Let's go ahead and copy this, okay? Yo, Claude, I need your help, buddy. Let's go data URL function this icon for me. Okay, see what it spits back. Whoa, hey, whoa. Okay, you're out. Yeah, thank you. Okay, good. I was like, what are we doing? What are we, well, okay, that's not the most friendly. Yeah. This. Thank you. Okay. Boom. All right, so I guess we're gonna, I think you can just stick that in a URL function. Okay, so the before. Background. Mask image. Gosh, look at this. Actually, yeah. Background color is let's just check that real quick. Yes, okay. Mask image, mask position, mask size, contain, mask repeat, no repeat, even though I don't think it's going to anyway. That's very nice. What I normally do, if you wanted to, you could go like include icon, and that would be this whole thing. And then you would have an exclude icon if you wanted to have exclusion rows where we show an X or something, you know? And then that would be like this. So we'll go cross, and it's this one. Let's go copy and do it here. And that's done. Okay, grab that. And let's go in and say exclude icon is this. And then now we come down here. We don't want this whole mask situation here. We want include icon. Include icon. Bam. And if you had exclude icon for whatever reason, it would do that. And then you could also, you know, apply opacity and things like that, but that's neither here nor there. Okay, we really got to get this into a component shape first. Okay, this might take our whole thing. I don't know that we're going to get to the other thing. This is an involved pricing card. It's a very involved pricing card. They got a lot of shit going on here. I'm also wondering, should we really increase the gaps here? Because see all their space that they've got here? You could do this with gaps, or you could just, like, maybe the height of the card, just the amount of list items. How many list items do they have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They have 9 list items. But the question is, like, what happens if there's not 9 list items? How should this shit look over here? I'm thinking that we should probably align this to the center. And then if we're just greatly expanding the number of list items, that'll obviously make it taller. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I just got it. Right. No effort, just got it. Oh, that's display contents. Well, you know, that's, oh no, it's display flex here. Yeah. Good thing we can see all of the things. That should actually be a column though. I just put display flex in there to check it, but it should be column. Then this will be the correct axis. Okay, I think this is probably, now this actually goes, instead of justify center, it actually goes to space between. Now we're getting there, guys. Now we're getting there. Okay, are things a little tall? Probably because it's percentage based, yeah? Yeah, this is where you want to go like plus 2M. There we go. Okay. You know what you could do? What, half of the card padding? You know, if you really wanted to, if you really wanted to get that done like that, okay? We could go card padding. Okay, and then our card padding just goes to space L as well. But now we know the card padding value. Now what happens if you, instead of this, you go plus card padding? Does that work? What did that just do? What did that just do? Did that really work like that? Did that end up being the exact same? Just straight out of the box? I think it is, because it's literally half, because we're dealing with two sides. I just, come on. It's too good. That's too good. That's just too easy. Okay. I feel like our gap still needs to be a little bit bigger. There we go. That works. I'm only really, well, actually, I gotta be careful here. You know, like what are we doing on, yeah, what are we doing on mobiles here? What are we doing on the mobiles? These big gaps, space L. Card padding, card gap, these things. Actually, why am I can just nudge them. I can just send them. You just send them. I want those things to only happen on desktop, guys. Card gap. There needs to be another card gap for here and space M maybe. There we go. There we go. And then, you know, this list situation that we've got going on here, by the way, I can come down here. Let's make a little comment, shall we? New little comment and say divider line. Sexy. Sexy little comments here. And they actually, they create a navigation for you if you didn't know that. Okay, so this will be desktop. Let's do, we'll say vertical divider line, and then we're gonna need a horizontal divider line. Which is essentially just taking this and putting it here, because this is outside of the container query. And I can come down here to watch this happen. So outside of the container query, we need to just flip the inline size and the block size. Make this the inline size, make this the block size, and then you are gonna have a different, okay. So the left becomes the top, and the top becomes the left, but it just can be 0. And now I have a horizontal divider line, a cute little horizontal divider line. Okay, so what are the shared things here? Position absolute, that doesn't need to be repeated. Take that away. The background does not need to be repeated. Take that away. The block size, inline size changed. The top changed. The translation, did the translation really need to exist? It did not need to exist. Oh yeah, it did. It did. Left. Oh, you know what? The left 50%, that still needs to be there. Translation 0. Oh, yeah, this different axis now. Actually, you know what? Let's simplify that. For the horizontal, it does not need to extend out past. That's just overkill. That's just overkill. Let's go left 0, take away the translation, and make the inline size just 100%. Take it out of the calc. Now it's good. Now it's great. Now it's fantastic. Okay. I love being able, by the way, you notice the value of seeing what's happening at the large size at the same time you're working on the mobile, and borrowing things you did for the large size for the mobile, and then just being able to quickly check, are they still both good? You know, so valuable. I'm not, you know how many clicks and panels you would have to dig through in a typical interface to do that kind of thing? It's just nice that you can just sit there and like you see everything at all times. See everything at all times. Okay, let's check this little header situation out. We need a little gap in here. 0.5 LH there. All right, I like that. I like that. I like that. Pretty good, pretty good. Now, if you, how are we gonna make this? How are we gonna make this a proper component where we can put any kind of items in that we want in this list and even choose whether they're included or excluded? How are we gonna handle that? How are we gonna handle that, guys? I think you gotta go slot, you have to do like a sub-component situation. So you have a sub-component situation. Now I am recognizing that I'm thinking, I always forget this. It's very important to not forget. If you have a longer thing, you can't align these icons to the center. That's a no-no. So whenever I did align to the center, which was right here, you should not do that. And unfortunately, when you align to the top, you almost always, because of line height, get icons that are no longer in alignment. So I'm going to show you how to do this. You essentially nudge them with translate. Okay, so you do a little translate, and then you figure out, see, that's the axis control of vertical. And so you can do something like, you try to do this as intelligent as possible. Most chumps would go something like 3 pixels, you know, 3 pixels, then they'd go 4 pixels, 5 pixels. But that's not gonna help when the font size changes, you know? Now you get a little bit better, I think, with IMs. If you did like a 0.25 IM situation, maybe you get a little bit better. But I think there's even maybe a better solution, which is 0.5 EX or even line height, I don't think works well here. But EX is a really good one, I've found. A really good one. It's not exact because it's based on the height of the X character of the font. And that of course expands automatically to font size as well. But this essentially is like half of the height of one of the characters, which if you're like half the height of the L, that's like in the center of the L, right? Kind of a good little model I've found. I really like the EX unit for things like this. Okay, so those appear to be centered when there's only one line, but then when there's more than one line, it appears to be centered with the first line. This is, see, these are the little details, you know, little details you got to pay attention to. All right, let's take this away and let's talk about this little component situation, the sub-component situation. First of all, are we looking fairly good? I feel like they have, one, this is way narrower. I'm going to show you a little trick here because all these things are containers essentially in this section, right? So we're going to call this pricing section Bravo. And we're going to give it the class of pricing section Bravo. And when all your containers use container width or content width, right? You can just come in here and say like, you know, 800 pixels. And now they're all narrower. They're all narrower. I don't think theirs is quite that. It's more like 1,000 or something like that. Or we can actually check it. Why don't we just measure it? What are you? What are you? Get out of here. Pricing wrapper, container. Pricing wrapper. What is that? Oh dear God. What did they do? Hold on. They put all that in the pricing wrapper. They put the intro in the pricing wrapper. They put the testimonials in the pricing wrapper. Get out of here. Yeah, you're fired. Get out of here. Can't take it. Okay. What is this? Pricing card wrap. This is a horrific naming. That breaking BIM. This is not BIM right here. This is bullshit. That's what this is. You can have BIM or you can have bullshit. Okay. This is bullshit. Look at this. It's so difficult. Pricing card wrap, pricing card contain, pricing card main, random class of gifting. What are we doing? What are we doing? All right. I was just trying to check the width. 940. They got much smaller text. I think that's the problem here. We're going to go like 1,000. All right, so let's get in here. 1,000 pixels. Save, refresh. Okay. All right. And there's one problem we're going to run into is that our container query was set for like 1,000 pixels. So clearly we need to redo that just a little bit. Okay. Let's go down. And this is where the pain in the ass. This is why you have to have the tokenized media queries. Let's go with 800. Okay. That's going to look effed up because the others have to be brought to 800. I'm just checking whether we can go to 2 columns there. And I think we can. I think we can. Okay. So anywhere we had this has to be switched to 800. Did we only have 2 of them? I swear we had 1 more. We had them on the list, right? This is why tokenized media queries and container queries are absolutely imperative. I could have changed this in one place. Okay, that's better. That's great. That's great. Okay. It's ugly right now because it's unstyled. That's kind of what we're doing. We're just creating an unstyled. We could clean it up a little bit, but it is what it is. We're going to make it a component now. So we have pricing card Bravo. This whole thing needs to be a component. We need to take our list. Okay, we got our pricing wrapper, price, button, this whole list right here, list items. How do we want to do this? We're going to make a slot. The slot is going to be inside the list. The list item is going to be the subcomponent. So I'm going to go delete, 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 delete. You can actually just grab the list, come in here and just delete all these. That's easier. Okay, so we have our list item. Let's copy this. Let's save here. Let's exit. Let's paste it outside of here for right now. Okay, just let it chill right there. Just a random little list item. Let's go back in and let's delete it from here. Here's our list. We're going to put a slot. Our slot is going to be list items. Okay, list items, just like this. Okay. Now, what I'm actually going to do is paste one of those outside of the slot. Actually, maybe, yeah, I guess. I want to be able to see one in here. I'm going to wrap this in a condition. And what you can do is say, if slots.listItems.empty, we're going to show this. Okay. So if the slot is empty, let's show this. And I'll say, or, and this is a new one. We just added this. And I got to try to remember it off the top of my head. Environment.component editor, I believe is, okay. So if we're in the component editor or the slot is empty, show me that shit right there. That's kind of what that statement, that's the street slang for what that condition reads out as, okay? We're going to say if empty. And now let's go back, right? Okay, perfect. We don't need this anymore. We verified. Look, see? Now, if I put something in the slot, right, like just random text, boom, it's going to replace the default. But if I don't have anything in my slot, it's going to show me at least one little list item there, one cute little list item there. I already talked about this. I am not remaking list alpha. List alpha is different. And this is not just a generic list. This has extra requirements. Therefore, we're not going to repurpose list alpha for this. But list alpha uses physical icons. This doesn't use physical icons. This has 2 different icons you can swap between because that's what we need for the context of this pricing card. Okay, I think that's a good explanation there. So now I've got this slot. So what I need is a subcomponent, okay? So I'm gonna paste this list item here, and we're gonna create a component. And we're gonna call this pricing card Bravo item, list item. Pricing card Bravo list item. So we clearly know these 2 things belong together. They live together and they can ship together by default when we share the component. I'm going to say that this is the label, and we are going to have the icon, which is going to be a select. Let's think about how we want to do this. Icon is, I'm just going to pass this to a data attribute, I think. Yeah, so we'll do icon. Or we could do status of like included or excluded. Status of included or excluded. I'm gonna let you guys decide, okay? Do we go icon and they choose checked or what would be the other one? See, the icons don't have good names. It's tick and cross. So that's annoying. Check or X, like we could do that. Icon, check or X. Or what we could do, that's A. So if you want A, you're gonna vote for A, you put A in the chat. If you want B, what B is gonna be like status, and this would be like included or excluded. You guys choose, that's B. So icon is A, status is B. You guys vote, we're gonna go that direction. It doesn't matter which one we do. We can do it either way. Lizzie, are you enjoying this? Does this help? Why not use the content to hold the icon and use color prop? Why not use the content to hold the icon? I'm not sure. I don't know what that means. I gotta check up with the chat. Why have I never thought about characters as gaps? I don't know, Nick. I don't know, Nick. You gotta hang out with me more. Okay, you gotta hang out with me more. That's all you gotta do. Okay, they all went B. Everybody went B, status included, excluded, okay? All right, so what we're gonna do, we've got this little list item here. Okay, well, we'll just pass it to the list item. I mean, that's fine. Data item status. Let's just do data item status equals, okay, props.status.to lowercase. Okay, so we'll make sure that it's always lowercase. That way you don't have to do this nonsense. Have you ever seen this game get played where you just repeat the thing? No, you don't have to do that. Just force it to lowercase and you're good to go. And now let's exit this. And so we've got this list item here. Oh, I didn't map it. Let's map the actual label right here. So I'm just gonna click this, click save, and exit, okay? So can I have text, please? Yes. Okay. I can just duplicate, bang, bang, bang. I can have a bunch of them. And then I can pass whether they are included or excluded. So this last one we'll say is excluded. Now I'm going to save. I'm going to go to the front end. We're going to inspect this real quick. And we're going to see data item status. I can't zoom in for you guys, but I think you guys can see that. So you have data item status included, excluded, right? Okay. So here's how we're going to use that information. We're gonna go into the list item component here, okay? Remember this, where we had an include icon and exclude icon? I'm gonna get more real estate for us here. We're gonna come in here and we're gonna say, I'll do this at the top so you guys can see better. Then I'll just move it to the bottom because I can nudge, I can nudge things. So we're gonna say data item status equals excluded. We don't need to do included. Included is the default. We only need to do something different if it's excluded, right? And all we're gonna do is change the value of, okay, so we need a little adjustment here. Mask image is getting the include icon. I don't wanna do that. I wanna get just a generic icon. That's it, okay? Now by fallback, okay, we're gonna do the include icon. And I'm just gonna pause here because this annoys the shit out of me. I'm dyslexic, I do this all the time. It should not be include icon, exclude icon. It should be icon include and then icon exclude. That way they all start with icon. It's just a little OCD thing, okay? So I've got my icon include, my icon exclude. Down here, I'm asking for my icon, and then I am by fallback saying I want the icon include. That's what this comma is, comma, and then a value. That's the fallback value. Let's go up. My list still works, okay? I can see that. But now when data is excluded, I'm gonna redefine icon as icon exclude, okay? And let's just nudge all the way to the bottoms, okay? Right there, bam. Okay, so we'll just let it sit down there. And then, if you wanna be friendly to yourself or to others, you can come in here and say something like exclude icon or switch, we'll say exclusion styles. Something like that, okay? And here's, I'll show you, like you come up here and if you wanna see the exclusion styles, well, clearly we gotta work on that. When it's at the very bottom, I guess it can't go down all the way, but very soon, you'll be able to actually like auto scroll directly to that. Something may have happened because it was working before, but I don't know. Guess not right now. Okay, let's see if we can exclude something. Guys, look at this. Like any of these. Oh, you want to exclude that one? Oh, now it's excluded. Look at this. Look at this. And now you have a little code block to where you can come in and check this out. So I'm going to go down here. Let's go back to our exclusion styles right here. And I can do anything else I want, like opacity of 0.5, okay? And if I close that out, when they are excluded, they will also be half transparency. We could also say label. Actually, I wonder if we could do it from right here. What is it? What is that? A text decoration? Text decoration of line through? Golly jeepers. Look at this. I don't know that I like line through. I mean, you guys decide. Line through or no line through? Line through or no line through? But watch this. Like, look, from this little toggle switch, let me go to this one. Boom, it's included. Look at all the things change just by a little toggle switch here. Guys, it doesn't get any easier than this. You know what I'm saying? So nice, so nice. So now, pricing card Bravo, we can come in here and really just start mapping. Look at this. We can go 1, 2, this is all text. This is just all straight text. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I need 8 text props. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Heading. Eyebrow. Actually, we'll put them in the order that they appear in the actual card. So eyebrow, heading, this is gonna be currency. This is gonna be price. This is gonna be term. This is gonna be price description. This is gonna be button label. This is gonna be button link, okay? And then we're just gonna go eyebrow, heading, currency, price, term, description, button label, button link. All we're gonna do is grab that little button and come into the link, drop that in. Fantastic, fantastic, okay? My pricing card, okay? Platinum plan, $9.99 per year, okay? Charged annually on auto pay. I don't fucking know, okay? Join the club. Goes to button link. Currency can just stay as $, but I could put in, what other currencies? I don't know how to get any other currency on here. I'm American. I don't know how to deal with this. What are we doing? I don't know where they are on the keyboard. We're not going that deep, okay? And now you have this list item situation over here that is highly flexible. And we're gonna exclude the bottom two here. Boom, boom. Look at this, look at this. No line through. I mean, you could check the ally, it's fine. You could also control the exclusion opacity if you wanted to. You could make that settable. You could make that user adjustable. Button ARIA label. I don't think you need an ARIA label for the button because the button text is descriptive in itself. But you could also make it say join or I mean, you could tie it to the name of the plan. But typically you would say like, I mean, I guess you could have it as an option, but you're supposed to just use descriptive text in the button. But look at this. Look at this. Check it on mobile. If you notice the hard part, what was the hardest part? The hardest part was just getting the structure built getting all the elements in there, making sure that at our container query size that we're able to shift things around properly. When we actually built the component, I mean, that was like the easiest part. Drop some props in there, pass a value with a data attribute, but then that just took us back to CSS land, essentially. That was like easy, you know? If you don't want the strike through, let's edit this little list item right here and come in to the list item. Let's expand this to full screen. And then you would just take out this little line right here. This could be 6, you know, 0.6 if you wanted to. All good, all good. It's very common to use opacity in, you kind of need more. You could also, by the way, go icon color. You know what I'm saying? So that's the background color. That's why I put icon color. I never passed it. I just put text dark muted. And I would not pass this as a prop, by the way. I would not pass this as a prop. That could easily turn into a carnival. You would say, okay, this is how you would do it. This is how you would do it. So let me go to ACSS here and I'll show you real quick. This is also very helpful in your palette. Turn on success, turn on danger. So we need danger, we need success, okay? Go there, and now we would come in, and here we would say icon color, danger, and then when it's included, okay, and we'll just do this, in inclusion styles, okay, included, we don't need that, we don't need that, success. Okay, and now you have like green and red, okay, so now you have some color. Again, you got to style this whole card up, okay, and dial these things in on your own install, but this is an example of how you can color the icons. That's why I used a mask, by the way. I used a mask technique on the icon on that little square block that we made so that it could inherit the color of the background, which is effectively the icon color when you mask it. So all this stuff is possible. You could also only put the opacity on the label and not the icon. There's a lot of flexibility that you could build in here. I'm gonna take those out, but I just wanted to show you that that's possible. And you could even leave these empty data attribute styles just in case you need to quickly come in here and do something to the included or excluded state. And then you could also say, like right here, you could say the default state. Okay, so you have a default state, exclusion styles, and included styles. I could say exclusion state, inclusion state. This is just a little cleanup stuff, just kind of cross some T's, dot some I's, make it a little bit more organized. You just have a lot of flexibility here. You can also come in, I would say maybe on this, if we go back into our pricing card Bravo, this content wrapper right here, wouldn't hurt to say at greater than 800 pixels, by the way, not anywhere else. These little, dude, having these container queries just sitting here and you get to decide where do I want to do these little adjustments, so valuable. Min block size of 600 pixels or 500 or 400, just pick something you like. 300, 350, that's probably pretty good. And then I don't want this 350, so I'm just gonna do a 2 rim and then drop that 350 back in there, and that's gonna convert it to rim for me on the front end, and now we get something like this, which is more in line with what they had with these large gaps between the first and last elements. Just really, really, really nice. Really nice, okay? Maybe we do 300 there. Lot of flexibility, lot of possibilities. Really good, really good. Okay, I might go into questions, might go into Q&A. Is there anything left on this card that you want to see, by the way? And remember, we got these testimonial cards down here that we just dropped in from our pattern library. Those I did want to check those out in terms of what was happening when I changed the rating. Oh, okay, good. Nothing. We're good. Look at this, 3.5, 3.75. It accepts anything. Does little half stars for you. So nice. Okay. Just got here, fam. What did I miss? Well, you didn't miss much. Just the entire thing. Just the entire thing. That's all you missed. That's all you missed. You might want to go rewatch. Okay. By the way, that's not the only way to do the line through. Let me just quickly show you another, maybe a sexier line through. You want to do a little sexier line through? We can do a sexier line through. So we'll come into the list item. Okay. And then we will say, and this is where the exclusion styles really come in. The exclusion state. Okay. Data item status excluded. We are doing this on the list item, which already has a before pseudo element. We cannot use the before pseudo element again, but we can use after. I want to make sure that we can actually do this inside it. I'm pretty sure we can. I'm pretty sure this is not a problem. I mean, nesting's pretty flexible. It's pretty powerful. Let's just do test. Just put a test in here. You ever want to just, does the pseudo element, can it exist in this state? There it is right there, okay? Okay, so we're rocking and rolling. Let me pull this up. So we have this pseudo element, which would be inline size of 100%, block size of 1 pixel, position absolute, top 50%, left 50%. I just already know where this is going because you do this so often. It's like translate of minus 50%. I mean, I say that, then it could just be off. It could be on fucking Mark Zemansky's computer right now. I don't know where this could be. But I'm pretty sure it's going to be right where I want it to be. Background of red. Okay, and then let's just check. See, it's not on Mark Zemansky's computer. It's on mine right here where I thought it was going to be. We don't want it to be red though. We don't want it to be red. So what we would say is text dark, something like that. Because it's already going to be, yeah, that's a different form of line through. I could even do text dark muted maybe. Okay. You can even put opacity on that since it's a separate element. Yeah, why am I doing that? Why don't we just go opacity 0.5 on that? And then you could very subtly, line through. And I'm wondering, the only problem with that, is it's gonna go the full length of the list item. It's not really mapped to, it doesn't know the length of your actual content. So there is one little downside, little drawback there. But the good news is, in a typical page builder where you would have just filled out 1,700 fields to do that, I can just go in and go, you know what? Maybe not, maybe not, maybe not. Very easy. Okay. But that is a good way to do that sometimes. I don't know if it's good in a list format, but in other situations, especially when you can use like inline size max content, which you might be able to get away with there. I don't know. Is Etch going to add a repeater component? This would be super useful for that example where you have the checkbox component. Yeah. Well, we kind of already do. It's just not very user friendly. We have the architecture for it. So we added this object prop. This is a repeater, essentially. It handles any array-based data. It's just not a good user experience right now because it needs a UI. But it actually does it. It actually does it. Like I could show you, but it's just kind of, the UI is kind of horrific for it right now. So, but it exists because that's the underlying architecture for what's needed for a repeater element. We just have to build the UI. But to answer your question, theoretically, not theoretically, technically, you actually could do it with the object prop. You could, I'm fucking tempted. I'm real tempted. I keep saying you could do it because I'm real tempted to just do it right now. Even though I'm just warning you, the UI is horrific, but it technically should work. I'm wondering if we should do it. Should we go down that rabbit hole? I'll let you guys vote. Yes or no. Or you could just say rabbit hole, rabbit hole. You could just say that too. That 0.5 opacity bugs me. Why not something like Y threshold, 0.36, Y... Delulu, you were here the other day. Weren't you here the other day saying you one prompted what I was trying to build, and then when I used your exact prompt, it was dog shit? I'm pretty sure that was you. So I don't know. You're shitting on a UX pattern, a UI pattern of 50, 60% opacity on disabled items. You understand that that is the default for the internet, right? Like if you go to make a form input disabled and watch what a browser does to it, my man, it makes it grayed out. That's what it does. It makes it grayed out. Okay. This is like a common pattern. We don't have to argue about this. This doesn't need to be argued about. Okay. All right. People are saying do it. Do it, do it, do it. I mean, I don't know what you guys are getting me into. I don't know what you guys are getting me into. We're going to try to do it. I've actually never actually done it. I'm just telling you that the architecture exists. As far as I know, the architecture exists. So we can delete all these list items. Okay. We can delete all those list items. Let's think about this for just a second. So I would come in and make an object prop, and this object prop would be the list, okay? The list. Features. How about that? Features. Okay. And I'm going to turn to Claude, okay? And I'm going to say I need the JSON for a list of features. And the keys are list, item text, item status, okay? Give me 9 features by default. The last 2 features should be status excluded, and the rest are status included, okay? Let's just see what it spits back. Copy, okay? I think we're good. I think this is gonna work. I don't know. I don't know. I also need to think about how we want to do this with these. I think we need to put. One. We wouldn't have a slot. I'm gonna break my component here. I mean, I could build it back, but this experiment is going to require me to break the component a little bit because it's a completely different architecture from what we had. But I'm doing it for you guys, okay? We're going down this rabbit hole for you guys. List if empty. List if. Let's get rid of this if empty stuff. We're not gonna be empty. Okay. I'm thinking we need our item back. Bam. You see that? Command I. Woo, hey, let me just dive into the library real quick. Grab that list item I was working on a minute ago. And this time we're going to wrap it in a loop. Okay? Does this work? Does this work? Does this work the way I think it works? Loop props.features. I mean, that's promising. That's promising. Let's just be honest. That's a little promising. This would be props.features as feature. As item. That's fine. That's fine. Okay. So the label would be item.label, right? Where's my loop? Oh, they put item text. Dog, you didn't listen to me, Claude. I didn't say nothing about no item text, Claude. I gave you the key names. How did it mess that up? I gave them the key name. We can move on. We can rock and roll with it, Claude. Look, you're not gonna slow me down, bub. Okay? Trying to throw me off. I got an eye for detail, my guy. All right, so we're looping, and then we have item status. Item status. Oh, item status. What we doing? Oh, we need to edit that list item. We need to add it that. Oh, no, we don't, because this This is a combo box, my friends. I can do whatever the fuck I want. I can go do whatever I want. Item dot, what is it? Item status, is that what I'm just gonna guess. Save. This is a fun rabbit hole. I'm glad you guys had me go down this rabbit hole. This is a fun little rabbit hole. Okay. Now, this is essentially, let's go to the prop again. So this is just for preview purposes, okay? And I'm gonna just take a chunk of these out of the middle right here because we don't need that. We don't need all that many. Oh, look, it went to 9. God, I don't know. I'm on it today, boys. I'm on it today, boys and girls. Okay. So now the horrible UI that I was referring to a minute ago is it gives you this input right here. This is not the UI, obviously, that we would want. You need to take your JSON string, which is doable. You know, it's just not good. It's just not a good experience. And paste it in here. And theoretically, let's see, feature, I mean, this should work. Item text, feature 1. I don't know if it's like misformatting it or something or what exactly it's expecting there. I think we're just having some syntax issues. Item text feature, but that should continue to work. Features. Did I miss one detail? Let's go back. Loop props.features as item. I'm doing the item text. I'm doing the item status. I feel like it's fine. Props.features as item text, item label. What does it not like? Because it likes the exact same JSON when I'm in the component. When I'm in, that's the exact same JSON that I just put in. Let's exit. Let's just check this on the front end. I mean, maybe we have a builder describe. Well, that's not what we wanted. Okay, hold on. Does it want? Item text. Let's just do one. Well, Does it want just what's in here? I don't think so, though. I don't think that would be the case. Surely it would want no. All right. I would need to phone a friend at this point. I would need a Reinhard because what I expected is not what's happening. It all worked until the very last step, and it must be expecting something that I'm not giving it. I don't know if Andrea would know. I don't know if maybe a Jeremy is on the line. This is where I would need my lifeline, my phone a friend lifeline. So we only need a UI with the button where we can repeat items inside the object. So it would be fine. Yeah, so essentially to explain this, so this technically should accept the JSON that I was just showing you, right? And the UI would literally be in the component editor, right? You would create a group prop, and your group prop would group the list item label and the list item status together, those two fields, and you would simply be able to duplicate that group as many times as you want, or you would opt in for that group to be a duplicatable object, right? And so when somebody's using it, they would see a group of item label, item status, and they would just be able to duplicate it, and it would just duplicate right here. If that makes sense. That's what's coming. That's the idea. But you can see the architect, I don't know why it's not working, but it's working in the component. I don't know why it's not working as the prop. But you can see the architecture is there where the UI just builds that JSON for you. That's all it does. So when you duplicate that group, it just adds another JSON object to the array. Okay. What do you need for the remaining 1%? 99% should do it right. I don't know who. I think you guys are having a side conversation. 2 years of rabbit hole since I found PB 101. What's one more? Okay, good. How did Etch get so far ahead of other page builders? Any do's and don'ts for Etch in terms of what can and shouldn't build with it? The reason it's so far ahead is because of fundamental principles, like the main one being give people access to the code. Because you can do things that you don't need a UI for, simply because you have code access. So every other builder that doesn't provide code access, you have to sit around and beg for a UI to do anything you need to do, which is time, which is money, which is like they have to build it for you. And then you have to hope that they give you all the functionality that you needed and expected in that UI. Whereas here, you know, like loops, for example, anything you could do with a WordPress loop, essentially, you can already do just because we gave you the loop code and then we gave you the output so that you didn't have to sit around waiting for, well, Kevin needs to tell me what all the keys are with auto suggest. And no, it actually doesn't. It tells you what all the keys and all the values are right here, and you could just type them. You could just reference them right here. So like, there's just so many things nobody had to wait on us to do because it's sitting right there. It empowers the user, you know, and a user that wants to be empowered is empowered. And then of course we, did other things like the infinite canvas, and we decided to get away with styling panels and do the mini GUI. And then we did container queries, like auto container queries, auto media queries based on the size of your you should go to the site and read all of the, what did we do? I did a whole blog post, right? Think. It was definitely a video. It's in an overview video, but I essentially read this. So there's a whole section, a major departure from traditional page builders. And I go into detail on all these different decisions that were made, all these different areas where we were just like, no, we're doing things completely differently. I would definitely go read that. That kind of sums it all up. All right, I wish we had an Andrea or a Jeremy here or something like that to explain to me why this last step, because I really wanted to see that happen. And theoretically, it should happen exactly like I was trying to make it happen. I don't know if it's a formatting thing. Can you minify this? Like, I just want to make sure, is there some weird characters that got put in, or like, I've actually done smaller versions in the past. Well, maybe it doesn't need to be. Maybe it's the square brackets that aren't needed. But I feel like, okay, ditch the square brackets and give me both versions again. Maybe if it's just these objects right here. I got so many tabs. What are we doing here? Tab, 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 tab. These are like all the same thing. Tab, get out of there. Get out of there. Okay. All right, let's make one final attempt here. Then we'll answer. I'll go to Q&A after this. Okay, well, that's still, oh, no, it's not. I'm getting a syntax error. You see that? Little linter doesn't like it. Now it likes it. I mean, the only thing why is it like it in the component editor, doesn't like it not in the component editor? It doesn't like it either way. Okay, well, wish I could phone a friend. Do you maybe have to escape the quotes in the JSON? Yeah, I doubt it. I doubt it. I mean, can you escape the quotes in the minified version? I don't think so. Like, no. I have done it before on a smaller scale. It only had like, it didn't have multiple key value pairs though. I think when I did, and it was a while ago. I mean, it could very well just be maybe a bug or something. I don't know. I'm gonna have to run this video clip by Reinhardt and see what he thinks. Oh, try to add it around the array. Okay, all right. I like the ideas now we're coming up with. Well, you're a genius, my friend. Look at this guy. Hey, 1,000 points to code KS gigas. 1,000 points to you. Okay. Okay, so let's do this then. Okay. This version works. Give me real pricing features. Here we go, right here. Based on this list. Bam. So here's your list. Now again, guys, remember, this is not the proposed workflow. This is just demonstrating that the architecture for repeating props exists currently, okay? So now I'm just gonna drop this in, and there it is right there. Look at that. That is a beautiful work of art. That is an absolute no slots with nested with subcomponents. Not needed. Look at that right there. So it's a demonstration of, if you need to do it that way, there is a pathway. Now, I've talked before about the different kinds of pathways that might exist in Etch. You know, you might have a super highway. Like components in general is kind of like already a super highway level, exposing child component props to the parent, doing loop props, doing all the shit you can do with components right now, right? But then this, a repeating prop, that's kind of a dirt road. You know, it's not a super highway right now. It's more of a dirt road, okay? More of a dirt road. But it gets you there, doesn't it? It gets you there. It's not the best UI, but it gets you there. So architecturally speaking, you know, we're good to go. Once we build a UI for it, I mean, it's just gonna be so nice. It's gonna be fantastic. But look at that, and it does the, like, what if I wanted personalized protocol for instant action to not be included, you know? The first improvement we can make is just give us the same kind of input that we have right here. Like, this would already be an improvement, right? Because right now I'm working in this little, you know, box right here, which is not great. But you could go included to excluded, and anything is gonna just change immediately its value. Like, this is fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Okay, let me go to Q&A, and then we'll get out of here. Hashtag Q. Okay. Will you show how to enable, disable features per pricing plan? Okay, all right, so we did that, Vince. We got you covered. Hopefully this answered that question for you as we went through this tutorial. Can you go one step further with the pricing table and do a toggle? Not today. We're out of time. We are out of time. Are we gonna be able to build components and conditions, et cetera, and see the results easier? Toggle live query in the dev. You can already do that. I don't know what you're asking specifically, but you can already do that. Okay, in which situation is the slot the better option? Slot is the better option so a repeater prop is the better option in this scenario, because you are only ever repeating items in the list. You're not putting in any other kind of content. A slot is better if you needed the user, or even yourself later on when you're using the component, to be able to put anything into an area. Okay, I want to put an image in there. I want to put a video in there. I want to put maybe a list. I want to put maybe a paragraph and a list. I want to, you know, maximum flexibility. But in this scenario, we don't really need flexibility. What we just need is the ability to have 9 items versus 4 items and included versus excluded. And that is actually handled, as you can see, with what we would call a repeater. And in this case, it's an object. And we need to repeat that object a certain amount of times for how many objects that happen to exist. And that's what I did. So if we look at the architecture again, added an object prop, said, here's the data for the list. I put in, if we go over here, I put in one list item, which I already had a component for. See how that subcomponent actually did come in handy for whether we were using a slot or whether we were nesting it and looping it? Still handy to have that subcomponent, still handy. I put it in a loop. What is the data source for my loop? It was the prop, the object prop, props.features. Notice that I did not need to go to the loop manager and create any sort of loop. These are global loops in the loop manager, but that's not the only thing you can loop. You can loop literally anything, guys. Like I created an object prop with data and I just said, loop that props.features. And look, there's nothing down here. It says looping over dynamic data source, nothing to select, but it didn't block me from doing it. I can loop whatever I want. Look at this. I've shown this once or twice before, but it's important to know that it exists. Sorry, let me go to a different page. Test, create, go. Okay, watch this. You can come in here and say text. Okay, or let's do a box. Let's do an image. Let's do an image, right? Image. Now it's gonna all be the same image, but I just want to show you that this exists. Geez, really? I don't have any images on here. Okay, it can't be an image then. Let's go with we don't have an icon either. Holy smokes. Okay, let's just do a link, whatever. I don't know. Let's just do text. It's fine. It's fine, whatever. Loop me 9 times. Okay? All right, so I'm gonna go wrap in loop. Again, I don't need to choose a data source, okay? Now it's looping 9 times. It's looping one piece of text 9 times. Now, where is this useful? It's useful, I used it the other day when I had to create a grid of colored boxes, of swatches, essentially. I needed 9 swatches. And then I took this component and I just used inth child and locally scoped variables to change the color of each swatch, all from one single swatch source that was just being looped by a static array. Like, just little things. Architecturally, it's like, yeah, you should be allowed to do that. Now, where it'll get really powerful is where we would be able to say, it would actually be like an each statement, right? Or you would be able to say like any number instead of like counting them manually like I just did. You could also use like an index number potentially. That could get even more flexible than it already is for generating a loop dynamically. But I think it's important to point that out. Like when you're looping things, it's not just your global loop options that are available to you. You can loop dynamic data, like I showed you the object prop, the loop prop, if you're using a loop prop, static array, like whatever. You could actually put in, let's just test this. Let's just test the theory. Just test the theory. And I don't know if it's going to want the brackets or not want the brackets or whatever. Text. Okay. I think the loop is broken right now. But it would be loop as item. Loop as item. Yeah. Item dot, and it would be the same thing. What, like item text or something. But that loop is busted. I think it's wanting the actual square brackets first. Look at this. Look at this. I mean, it's like, is this a good UI for doing that? No. No. But you can. It can work with it, It could work with it. So, and then you could even come in and you could pass it as the data attribute. equals. We need the quotes. It's actually just item status, I think is what they called it. Okay, let's go to the front end. There you go. Item status, included, excluded. So it's like, you know, there's multiple ways to accomplish the same thing. In this case, we weren't in a component. We just wanted to randomly loop some data on a page that we didn't want to create a global loop for. Just a one-off, like, hey, can you just loop this data real quick right here? You know, you could do that. Somebody said, how does this look in Gutenberg? How does this look in Gutenberg? Let's go check. Let's go back to our sample page. And let's go to the Gutenbergs. Looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. This is Bev. Bev can come in and change all these. Something like that. And then here's your JSON right here, which again, the UI is not there. I already said that. I already explained that. But Bev could go say, hey, give me a new list of features. Or she could just type out, you know, hey, just, you know, here's our new features, put this in the JSON. But I don't want to type, I don't want to think about it. I'm just going to ask Claude for another list. And then I'm going to grab it. And then I'm going to come in and we will paste that in here. Oh, look at it go. Look at it go. And now we have a brand new list. Guys, I mean, come on now. For a future WDD, a product card component with color swatches. Yeah, that's that would be a lot of work for sure. That would be a lot of work for sure. Okay, let's go. We can go to solo chat. Okay, we'll finish up here. I mean, can we get an LFG? Can we get an LFG if we like what we saw? Can we get an LFG in the chat? Yeah, I mean, you saw how easy that was to change for a client. And eventually when it has the UI for the repeater, you know, you would have those groups that would be down here and she could just delete groups or add groups, you know. You wouldn't have to do this JSON thing. It's just, I'm just showing you there is a dirt road to doing this correctly. Now we are going to try to get, we are limited a little bit by Gutenberg, but it would be nice if you could edit these inline for sure, you know. But like the idea that you have to fill out some fields over here, is that really a deal breaker for the value that you get? And I don't think so. I don't think so. One deal breaker is this shit's been under development for 10 fucking years, a whole decade, and you can't make the sidebar bigger. You know, I can't make the sidebar bigger, even though Gutenberg's been in development for a decade. Automatic's got $800 million, and you can't make this sidebar bigger. We can't see the object prop in Gutenberg because of your... Oh, you can't? Okay. Well... I don't know how to change it. I don't know. Hold on. We can go screen only. There we go. Can you see it now down there? It's right here. It was just this. It was just another text thing that I just pasted new JSON in there. Can the edit with Etch button be restricted in the block editor? Don't want Bev in there. It's not going to be, she can't get in unless she's an admin. You could just make her an editor and she can't get in. Okay. Dougster likes it. Look at Dougster. He likes what he's seeing. Yeah. The repeater UI is going to be phenomenal. FAQs, anything that's a list, anything, you're right, anything that's an accordion, anything that's a carousel, anything that's a slider, anything, it's going to have a gazillion use cases. Going to be really, really, really good. It's after AI and after this other little, we're going on a little bit of a side quest, okay? There's AI, then there's going to be a little bit of a side quest, and then probably right after that, we'll get on this repeater UI. I'm really excited to see how the side quest pans out. Very promising. It's going to open a lot of doors. Can't give any details on it yet, but it's going to be maybe something you don't quite expect. Might be something you don't quite expect. Yeah. Okay. I think we're ready to get out of here. I think that this is in the books. What do you have planned for AI? We'll show you very soon. But just imagine having cursor inside of WordPress, like in Etch. A cursor inside of Etch for WordPress. And it can interact with the interface. It can build things for you. It can change things for you. It can create loops for you. It can build components. It can interact with the JavaScript panel. It can write Etch's JSON format if you wanted to. It can like name your structure panel, create BEM classes, rename classes in the library. There's a lot of features that people ask for that I think are dominoes that are knocked down by the AI monster, you know? Like, do we have to build a UI for mass renaming class names? Like, why don't we just ask the AI to do that? Like, hey, there's a bunch of classes in here and I want them all renamed to this. And it'll just go rename them for you. Wouldn't that be better than having it like us building an entire UI for bulk renaming classes? I don't know. It seems like it would be better. Or you could say, hey, I got this card, service card, and I want to actually create a duplicate of it, but I want to name it something else, service card Bravo or something. And I want you to port all the styles over. So just duplicate those classes, but change their name. And it'll just do that for you. Like, a lot of handy stuff, you know, a lot of really handy stuff. But it could also literally just build the entire page for you. It could create custom post types for you. It could create custom fields. It could create pages. It could create posts. It could do a lot of things. And everything that it does, keep in mind, everything that it actually builds for you is automatically also authored to Gutenberg. And then when there's a bridge plugin for free, anybody in WordPress can use anything that you built in Etch, even though you technically didn't really build it. AI built it. You know, I don't know. Etch is the gateway to making the entirety of WordPress unified and functional, and actually a good experience. It literally saves WordPress. Let's just put it like that. WordPress is a dinosaur. Etch is the modernization. Etch comes in and like maybe Etch is like the meteor that comes in. All the dinosaurs die, and then life flourishes afterwards. That's kind of what's happening here. There are people emailing me as we speak in droves saying, I had left for Webflow, now I'm back to WordPress because of Etch. I had left for my vibe coding experiences, but now that Etch is going to have the same AI, but I get to use WordPress as the content management system, and I get a builder layer to interact with what's produced, I'm coming back to WordPress because of Etch. Like, because you have to remember that Cursor, the downside of Cursor, and if you look at their behavior in the market, there's no UI layer to Cursor. So there's nothing to interact. You can't interact with the things that are being built in Cursor. It's just code. It's just code. So Cursor is rushing to build a UI. We're all aware of that, right? They're rushing to build an interactive UI for the things that you build with Cursor. Etch already has that. So it's like, the Lovables of the world, the code only, no code platform, they're rushing to give you access to the code. Well, Etch already does that. Etch already does what everybody is currently rushing to be able to do. It is this was obvious to me that like in a world of AI, You need the powerful AI, but you also need a interactivity layer, a visual UI that you can interact with the things that get done so that you don't have to rely on AI to do everything. And you can make all the little tweaks and adjustments that you want to make as the developer of the project, but also that you don't want to have to do everything by hand and you don't want to have to not have access to the AI, right? So this is the best of both worlds. Plus the block authoring layer, plus the portability of what you're building can now be used by everybody. The game is over. They just don't know. The dinosaurs don't know that the game is over, you know? They don't know their fate yet. The meteor is incoming. They just don't have, you know, they don't have telescopes. They aren't aware of what is about to hit. You know, we are. You guys are on the meteor. We are incoming right now, all of us together. We are incoming. And it's going to be very fun. It's going to be very fun. When will the media library get a normal look in Etch? When it becomes more important than the other things on the list. But the answer is simple. To any of these questions, the answer is simple. Is it more important than AI? Is it more important than PHP authoring? Is it more important than a repeater prop? Is it more important? If the answer is no if you can think of many other things that cause the answer to be no of the thing you're asking for, then you have already answered your own question, because that's how we're answering the question. It would be great. I would love it. I would love it if the media library was hyper modernized and so amazing and so awesome. But I can't justify doing that work because it's not more important than the other things on the list. We just got to do the things that are more important first. Oh yeah, you can't see me, by the way. That's okay. We're back. I need a producer. I just need to practice these. See, this is way easier for me to do now. Look at all the things I can go through quickly. I could, even if I had a guest, I could do a guest in the screen. I could do just the guest. I could do the framed version of this. I can react to things. I can have the chat. I can be my own producer. I just need to practice, you know? This is the beta version of Ecamm. It makes things a lot easier. I just got to practice with it. You can actually essentially register your own dynamic data shortcodes in Etch right now. I'll show you this. So we go to hooks, okay? So these filters right here allow you to essentially create PHP, anything that's PHP necessary on the back end. You can do any like code box, your own plugin, whatever, and then register the functionality to a custom like shortcode dynamic data tag and just use that in Etch. A lot of people are doing that for advanced PHP stuff right now. And it works quite well. It's not PHP authoring inside of Etch, but it does give you a pathway to executing PHP inside of Etch. See, this is where I need the producer. Absolutely atrocious. I can't, it's like the game at the carnival where something pops up and you just got to keep hitting them on the head and making them go back down. And it just keeps moving on you, you know? It just keeps moving on you. It's this right here. Go to Docs, click on Hooks. It's these right here. These are what you're going to want to need or what you're going to want to use. A lot of people using these right now. I am a horrible producer, dude. I am a horrible producer. Okay. All right. I got to get out of here. This was fun today. I want to get more people involved in components. Creating components are so fun. And then the ability to, I mean, maybe we share one last thing, you know? One last little look-see here. Where I just take pricing section Bravo. And I go to let's go to local, you know? Just go to a rando install. Not even logged in. Page, okay? Test. publish, publish. Brand new install. There you go. Look at this. I got a nice little pricing card in here. Little component. So it's all functional. Does all the things I need it to do. I can use that across all my projects now if I ever need it. I can share it with other people. They can go in and style it however they want. It's unstyled right now. I mean, this is great. And then, like, right when I pasted that in, I go in and I look, and it's in their Gutenberg block authored away. Ah, fantastic. Fantastic, you know? So fun, so flexible, so great. You guys got to start, like, if you're not playing with this yet, you got to be playing. This is the absolute future of WordPress. All development will be done in Etch. Because it doesn't make sense to build. Why would you do custom block development? Why? Tell me, look at this and tell me why you would do custom block development. Why the fuck you going to sit around in VS Code with React and PHP and all this bullshit they got going on over there to create a custom? You can just whip it up in Etch the same way you build anything else, and there it is. It's, you know, it's authored all the way to back here, right? Do you go to editor and you go to patterns and you go to my patterns and they're all right here? Pricing card Bravo, list item. They're literally here in FSE land. Like they were authored. This is core WordPress right here. They are authored to WordPress. Your templates are authored back there. Why would you do development anywhere else? It doesn't make any sense. Are media container queries complex to implement, or why does it take so long to integrate them? I can't wait for this. I don't know what the question means because we already have container queries. I showed them in this tutorial. They're automatic. They're even automatic even. Like, I don't know. You got to go back and watch the part where I did container queries. It's already happening. It's already happening. I have, for example, an FAQ and I need PHP to author the fact schema. Yeah, you can absolutely, I think you could do that now. I think you could do that now. Hats are coming, Neil. Hats are coming. Whack-a-mole. That was the game. Whack-a-mole. Okay, I'm going to get some lunch. I love you guys. Hope you got a lot out of this as usual. I'll be back next Tuesday and we'll do more. We'll do more. See you guys.